All right, guys, are you feeling lost in the woods?
Do you need to help find your voice in the woods?
Well, welcome to our workshop, Nature Calls. Presented by me, Zeb Nichols, your first vice president.
And me, Connor Atterbury, your vice president of membership.
Today, we will be exploring through the woods in public speaking and body language. But first, we're gonna start off with the Moose song. Now, I need you guys at home to repeat after me, because this is a repeat after me song. All right, you ready, Connor?
Oh yeah.
All right, there was a great big moose.
There was a great big moose
that liked to drink a lot of juice.
that liked to drink a lot of juice.
Singing ayo ayo.
A singing ayo ayo.
Ayo 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 ayo.
Ayo 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 ayo.
There was a great big moose.
There was a great big moose
that liked to drink a lot of juice.
that liked to drink a lot of juice.
He drank his juice with care.
He drank his juice with care,
but he spilled some in his hair.
but he spilled some in his hair.
Singing ayo ayo.
A singing ayo ayo.
Ayo 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 ayo.
Ayo 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 ayo.
There was a great big moose.
There was a great big moose.
The moose's name was Fred.
The moose's name was Fred,
And he liked to drink his juice in bed.
and he liked to drink his juice in bed.
But now there's a sticky moose.
But now it's a sticky moose
running all over the loose.
running all over the loose.
Ooh, thank you so much for singing along with us. All right, guys, so we're gonna start off with body language, and I'll be talking about the do's. So we'll be talking about eye contact, good posture, using your space, using your hands, and expressing your emotions.
And I'll be talking about the don'ts of body language. Glancing off, being closed off, not acting happy, using your hands too much, and being too comfortable.
All right, guys, so I'm gonna start off with eye contact. Just as you are talking one-to-one, you wanna make sure to keep good eye contact the whole time. Because the last thing you want is to be talking to someone and they're looking down, looking away, talking to you. Don't you guys just hate that? So when you're speaking either to a crowd or just one-on-one communication, you want to make sure you keep good eye contact the whole time. Now, no, you don't have to stare into their soul, but make sure to establish good eye contact the whole time you're talking to them.
Our first don't of body language is glancing off. Look at that meme. Okay. When you're talking to someone, what is the best way you can tell if they're paying attention to you? Well, as Zeb literally just said, they're making great eye contact. If you are not making eye contact when you're talking to someone or when someone's talking to you, it makes the speaker feel uncomfortable. It makes them feel less heard. It almost makes it seem like you don't even want to be there in that conversation. So you must remember to make great eye contact. After all, eye contact is the key to great listening, and that will help the speaker want to display more information to you instead of cut short. So you must remember to keep great eye contact to get the information you came there for.
All right, guys, now our second do is good posture. Now, the last thing you want to do is presenting and being slouched down, bent over, because this is just not going to help you feel as confident. You're going to get quieter, you're not going to present, you're going to forget stuff. But if you guys, take a deep breath, breathe in, stand up straight, shoulders high. The first thing you want to do is have good body posture, because this is going to help you be so more confident. And if you're confident in your speech, you can pull anything off. And this will help the crowd listen to you and kind of remember more of what you had to say.
And our second don't is don't be closed off in a conversation. Whenever someone's talking to you and you're sitting there like this, it makes the speaker feel like you already have your mind made up on a subject. Now, this is totally natural because when you meet new people, you want to almost feel them out. But you remember, you have to stay open to the conversation. This is how you gain more information and make them feel more comfortable in their environment. And after all, that's your job as a listener.
All right, guys, for our third do is using your space. Now, think about presenting on a piece of paper, a board, or even just speaking out across the stage. So if you're using a piece of paper, the last thing you want to do is use the tiniest right-hand corner and present your project this way. You want to make sure you use the whole piece of paper. Now, just like me and Connor, I'm on this side and he's on that side, and when we're using our board, we're making sure we use all the space we can. Not only will this keep the audience, engaged with what you're talking, but it'll make you as a speaker feel more comfortable if you're kind of moving around, loosen up just a little bit. So make sure to use your space.
And our third body language don't not act happy. Because when you're in a conversation and you're sitting there and your face is just blah or whatever, they're going to think, this dude is not paying attention to me. I need to move on as quick as possible to get to someone who actually wants to have a conversation with me. So you must remember to greet every person with a smile. Maintain your smile throughout the conversation. This will make them feel more comfortable. As I've already said, being more comfortable makes them want to share more with you. And that's the goal of body language.
All right, guys, and our fourth do for body language, using your hands. Now, the last thing you want to do is, you're talking and you're closed up, you're stiff, you're very strict. You don't want to use your hands like that. And then you don't want to use your jazz hands either. Now, we all love, using a good jazz hand, doing the Macarena a little bit, but when you're speaking, that's the last thing you want to do. Throughout this whole time, I'm using my hands, I'm making sure I feel comfortable, pointing to the board, pointing to Connor. Use your hands in that way. Make sure you kind of keep it, just inside your box. You don't want to go out too crazy, but you want to make sure, you're comfortable, kind of moving around. It'll keep the audience, kind of focused on what you're doing.
And guess what our fourth don't is? Using your hands too much. This is literally the opposite of what Zeb just said. If someone's talking to you and they're sitting there like, hey guys, look at me. Look at what my arms are doing. It's hard to focus on my voice when my arms are going all over the place and you're distracted by every single movement I make. We all know a person that does this. Well, maybe not to that exact extent, but a person that uses their arms way too much and it's hard to focus on what their voice is saying. Whenever you're speaking, you need your audience to pay attention to your voice. So remember to keep your arms inside your box. Don't go outside of the box. Don't distract them from your message. Your message is in your voice, and you must display that to them.
All right, guys, and our last do, expressing your emotions. Just how me and Connor have been throughout this whole presentation. We're upbeat, we're expressing our emotions, and maybe you're telling a story and there's a little bit of sadness in that story. You want to make sure to express your emotions. Now, hopefully we're just telling upbeat and joyful stories, so make sure you're expressing your emotion. You want your crowd to be happy, and you want them to be there, and you want them to know that you want to be there. So, make sure the whole time you're expressing your emotions, trying to be upbeat, because the last thing you want to do is your crowd to be bored with you and not want to listen. So try not to be monotone, real quiet, just try to be upbeat and happy.
And our final don't for body language, being too comfortable. Hey guys, it's me. I'm about to tell you the most important thing that you've ever heard in your life. It's really important to the world. It could save the world, who knows? But all I know is it's going to make an impact in the world that you can never see the end of. Now, I don't know if it's just me, but I don't want to take information from a person who seems like they could just lay out on a couch at any point in time. Whenever you're presenting important information, you have to stand straight. You have to stand straight and be proper with how you act. You have to make sure your shoulders are back and you're presenting to your audience in the best way you can. You don't want to give them this slouched over example of like, hey guys, what's up? Because if you do that, then that can make the audience seem like this guy has no idea what he's talking about. Why am I even here? Why is he even here? You have to act like you're happy to be there and you want to give this information out to them.
All right, guys, now it is time for an activity. Connor, will you walk us through this?
This is called Forest Charades. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Zeb has scenarios in his head.
Yes.
And what you're going to do with your
chapter, or just individually,
whoever you're watching with, you're trying to guess what Zeb is doing, what scenario Zeb is playing out. So, if you don't guess, Zeb is going to display four scenarios.
Four
and if you don't guess all of them by the fourth one, just pause it, maybe rewatch it, discuss, and we will tell you after you unpause.
Yes. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the first one. Whew. All right, now it's time for the second one. Oh yeah, all right. Now it's time for the third one. Whoa. All right, now for the fourth one. All right, sounds good. All right, guys, and if you haven't guessed what those were, you can go ahead and pause this real quick. All right, guys, so the first thing we did, we were starting a fire. All right, and then the second thing we did, we went fishing. And then our third one was bird watching. And then our fourth one, this one's a little tricky, but we were staking a tent. All right, now we're done with that activity. Let's jump back into public speaking. Now, I'm going to be going over the do's for this. So we're going to be talking about developing a clear message, having a good tone, knowing what to say, using key words and phrases, and relating to your audience.
I'm going to be talking about the don'ts again of public speaking, using like, your volume, having no passion, no engagement, and rambling off topic.
All right, guys, so I'm going to start off with developing a clearer message. Going into, speaking, maybe you're presenting something, you want to make sure you have a clear message. We're talking about public speaking and body language. So the first thing we did, we stated that. That's what we're going into this project, and that's what you're going to learn. So make sure at the very beginning of whatever you're doing, you're developing a clear message. Maybe you're just reading the title of what you have, but you want to make sure the audience knows what they'll be listening to and what to look out for.
Our first don't, like. So, I went to the coffee shop the other day. I don't like coffee, so I just got a water or whatever, and then I left. I don't know what's happening. So we all know this person. It's plain and simple. Whenever you see them and they start talking, you want to count how many times they say or like in a sentence. I know I've done this, and you've most likely definitely done this. So, an and like can seem like a natural reaction, because it's your natural reaction to fill spaces with words. So what you need to do instead is just take a deep breath and pause. Pauses to you seem longer than they actually are, and in some cases they can make you seem more intelligent. So the next time you get all caught up in your words, just take a deep breath and pause. Thank you, Zeb.
You're very welcome. All right, now we're going to be talking having a good tone. Now this whole time, me and Connor, we've been upbeat. We're excited to be here. We're excited for you guys to be watching this. So when you're presenting something, you want to make sure you have an upbeat and good tone, because the last thing you want to do is talk very, very low, very monotone, not wanting to be there. So you want to make sure you establish a good tone throughout your whole speech. Not only will this help the crowd remember things you said, but it'll make them want to, it'll make them want to know what you're going to say next by keeping a good tone.
Our second don't of public speaking is volume. Have you ever been in your English class when you're trying to read as a class? There's always that one person that talks like this and you can't understand what they're saying and you lose your place in the book. Guess what? That happens to everyone. And if you are this person, do not worry. It's simple to fix. Just remember to project to your audience. They want to hear what you have to say. They are there because of you. So you have to give them the show that they came there to see. So what you need to do, sit up. This will open up your lungs. Take a deep breath. And before you speak, breathe out slowly. Then get ready to project to your audience as clearly as you need to.
All right, guys, so now we're going to be talking about knowing what you're going to say. So the last thing you want to do is, go into a presentation talking about ramen noodles, your favorite food source on the planet, ramen noodles in a cup. So if you're going to talk more about ramen noodles, you want to make sure you know how to use a microwave, at least how to use a stove, how to put water in a cup. So if you don't know how to use these things, then why are you talking about your favorite food being ramen noodles? So going into anything, you want to make sure you know somewhat what you're going to say. No, you don't have to know every single little detail, but make sure if the audience asks you questions, you can somewhat back it up. And if you don't know a question to something, tell them, hey, get back with me later, contact your advisor or my advisor, and we can help you. So make sure you go into something knowing what you're going to say. Maybe it's key points is throughout the whole thing, but make sure you're prepared and you're ready to know what you're going to say.
The third don't of public speaking. Don't speak with, speak with emotion, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Because you don't want to be there like, hey, this is my favorite topic in the whole entire world. It's the history of sports. I love it with my whole heart. It literally defines me as a person. But guess what? You can't tell that because I'm speaking like this and I'm displaying no passion. You have to be passionate about what you talk about. When you are passionate in what you talk about, your audience will want to receive your message better. They want to be more engaged. If you're passionate about a topic, then they should be passionate about it too. So display your emotion in whatever you're talking about. Engagement directly correlates to how well the audience receives your message. Remember that.
All right, guys, now we're gonna talk about using keywords or phrases, So throughout this whole thing, we've been talking about body language and public speaking. And each slide we've had public speaking up or body language and the do's and don'ts. So we're using keywords to help you guys remember stuff. So we want you guys to go at a presentation and, remember the keywords they had. Maybe you're talking about growing into new leaders and you talk about rooting a lot. You're rooting into the dirt, growing. You want to make sure you can use keywords and phrases to help the audience remember what you said and make it a great workshop.
Our fourth don't of public speaking. Engage your audience. Just engage them. If you're sitting there and you're talking to someone, you want them to listen. You want them to hear what you have to say. The easiest way to do this is to go out of your way to be passionate about what you do. Hey, Zeb.
What's up, Connor?
You know how I love the history of sports?
Yes.
Oh my God, it's the best thing in the entire world.
Tell me more about it.
I would, but guess what? We don't have the time because we're presenting a workshop.
Darn it. Maybe next time.
So, whenever you go into something, you want to be engaged with your audience because, as I said earlier, right? Engagement directly correlates to how well your audience receives your message.
Yes, and just like we sang the Moose song with y'all earlier, just engaging and stuff like that. All right, guys, now we're going to be talking about relating to your audience. Just like how we sang the Moose song with y'all, played activities, we tried relating to you. And we know as kids sitting in an auditorium, listening to someone speak, it might not be the funnest. So that's why you got to, keep upbeat. You want the kids to be happy, so you have to be happy and upbeat. So make sure you're relating to your audience. If you're talking about one thing for super long and the audience kind of getting quiet, looking away, make sure you can see that and then kind of move on. You want to make sure you relate to your audience.
And our last don't of the day. Do not ramble off topic. You're listening to me talk about public speaking, right? So there's no way in the world you would want me to talk about how my grandparents are doing today. You don't come to me for that information. And I know it takes a lot to get from public speaking to talking about my grandparents, but you must remember it's easier than you think. What you're there to do, your job, is to go from point A to point B as quickly as possible by displaying every point of information along the way. So remember, point A, point B, that's your job, not to talk about Zeb's baking skills, which are spectacular, by the way.
Spectacular. But we're here to talk about our presentation and all that. And you can always catch someone else later on another day about that. So, all right, guys, and we do have one last activity. What are you packing in your bags? So this activity is going to be more of a scenario. We're about to go camping. We're going to be gone for a while. What are you guys going to bring with you? So we want you guys, maybe you're just home alone or, with your friends at school. You can, pair up in groups, however you want to do it. But what you're going to do, you're going to need a piece of paper, a pencil, and, maybe someone to keep a little bit of time. But you're going to want to write down as many things you might want to take with you camping. Maybe a sleeping bag, an axe, a fire starter, anything you could use, to go camping. So what you're going to do, you're going to either partner up or do it yourself. You're going to write down as many things as you can think of. Maybe hiking boots, a water bottle, and after say 5 minutes, everyone kind of has put down what they have. You're going to then go, from person to person and say what you have. So say I wrote down, I'm going to take some hiking boots, and I'm the first one to go. And if Connor also has hiking boots, he has to cross that off because he did not say it first. Now, maybe Connor put down a water bottle, and I have water bottle, then I'll have to cross that off. But you want to just keep going and keep saying as much stuff as you have until you have someone with the biggest list that no one else thought of. All right, so you guys can go ahead and pause this and do that activity. All right, guys, now since we're back, that was our workshop. And if you guys have any questions or you want to do this workshop later, feel free to contact me, Zeb Nichols, your first vice president, at znichols@okfccla.com or on the Instagram at Zeb_Nichols.
Also, if you want to come in contact with me, C. Atterbury at okfccla.com or on the gram of Instas at Catterbury_297. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for joining us in our presentation. You guys have a great year.